All right, Captain America, the first Avenger, the last movie before the Avengers. This was a movie that I saw and didn't like at all. I was not a fan of this on my first watch, and I pretty much talked shit about it the entire time for years. I was like, oh yeah, Captain America was rough. And same thing with Thor. I was like, I didn't like Thor. I didn't like Captain America. And about a year ago, I rewatched it for the first time. I was showing someone the MCU, and I was like, look, I'm going to watch it, of course, because I'm a completist and I want to watch this with you, but I don't really care for it, whatever. And so I threw it on, and I really liked it, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck? What was wrong with me? I don't understand. And so I went into it this time, and I was like, maybe it was just that night, maybe I won't like it as much. And so I threw it on this time thinking, like, will it go up or will it go down for me, or will it kind of just stay the same? And it's crazy because of how much I really didn't care for it and how much shit I talked about it for years. This viewing, I loved it. What the hell? I was all about it this viewing. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about something like that. It's just, it is what it is. I'm glad. Maybe it's just Avengers Endgame's coming out. No, I really enjoyed this movie for sure. It really, you know what it was? I didn't get it the first time. I was expecting something so different. And what I really understood about it the second time, and especially this third time, was that this movie is set in the 40s. And so what the director was doing here was making this movie resemble and mirror movies, action adventure movies of the 1940s, like the serial movies that they used to make, that Indiana Jones was trying to emulate and whatnot. And as an Indiana Jones type flick or something, as I said, as in the 40s, it really works well. And it should have been that way. It was a stylistic choice that really paid off. It did work very well, and I just enjoyed the shit out of it this time around. Having Red Skull as the villain here, it's such an interesting choice. It's the perfect choice. It's a character that's a hard sell for non-comic book watchers or readers. So when people are going to this and watching it, it does seem very comic booky, but this film embraces its comic bookiness and really just succeeds in pretty much every way. And Captain America Winter Soldier, I went into with no expectations because of how much I disliked this on my first viewing, and that ended up being, which it may still be, my favorite MCU film. I was blown away. Maybe because my expectations were so low, I don't know, but I loved it. Wouldn't it be funny if I went and watched it now and been like, it's okay, I actually prefer this one? We'll see. It's been a little while since I watched it. I have watched it a few times, and I've loved it every time, so that's not going to fucking happen. So Red Skull comes in here, and he's looking for the Tesseract. He pushes open this tomb that no one else can see, like 5 guys can't push off. He's so strong, obviously, because he had this super secret serum, super serum, fucking super soldier serum, there you go, injected, so he's all buff, and it ends up just being a little button on the eye of a snake. Just hit the button, and there you go. There's, one of the most powerful things in the whole fucking galaxy. And it's like, really? That's your hiding spot? Just a little button on the wall that a fucking 5-year-old could accidentally press? That is stuff. It happens in so many movies that I watch, and I'm like just a random book just opens it up, and it's like, really? That's it? Like, that's how you open it? That's silly. That's just silly. There's a lot of different ways that you could make it a little more complicated for someone who would actually have to know exactly what to do, in what order to maybe pull the books or whatever. Something other than to just press a button and it opens. I mean, I could throw it in a fucking safe and it'd be safer than that. I don't get it. That's so stupid to me. Anyway, so then we are introduced to our titular character here, Captain America. And he just keeps trying to enlist into the army. He wants to go. He's got to go overseas. He's got to fight the bad guys because he doesn't like bullies. I love the way that he delivers that line. And let me tell you, man, it's cool that he has like, it's not cool, but it's wild how many medical illnesses that he suffers from. Like he's just doomed, man. He's a tiny little guy. He has high blood pressure and everything. Like this guy hit the genetic lottery in the worst possible way. Like the exact opposite of what you want. And the CGI on his body looking small was amazing when it came out. Now it does look a little dated, you can tell, but I'm telling you, when it came out, I was like, oh my god, that looks perfect. So it does look a little dated, but it's still really impressive stuff. Howard Stark, yet again, played by a different guy. And this is where we're introduced to Bucky, aka, spoilers, the Winter Soldier. And also Agent Carter, which obviously she got her own television series, which I've never seen a single episode of, and I really want to because she is hot and I really like her character, and it's all on Hulu, so there's no excuse for me not to. So I talked to my kids about it and we said once we finished all of this, we're going to check out the Agent Carter series. So I really look forward to that, and I really like the girl who plays that. We also got Tommy Lee Jones in here. I think he's fantastic in this, but what else to expect? Of course he is. And Hugo Weaving, another character, fucking fantastic. And if we're going to continue to, if we're going to mention Hugo Weaving, I of course have to then mention the little Hydra freaking lackey here that cyanide capsules himself when Captain America catches up with him, is none other than Thorin Oakenshield himself from the Hobbit trilogy. So we got a couple Middle-earth alums here, so it's cool to see him. And we find out that the super soldier serum is it kind of just amplifies your qualities. Like if you're a bad dude, you become really fucking bad. If you're a great guy, you become really fucking great. So obviously Red Skull's does not go as planned. And I like that Peggy starts to like Steve before he's transformed into Captain America. That's big. It's like the girl who marries you before your money, before you're famous and rich and whatever. Then you know you can trust her. If you meet her when you're all, especially if you knew her when you were poor and unsuccessful and she had no interest in you at all, and then you go off and you get rich and all of a sudden she's like knocking on your door and is like, hey, what you doing later? Peggy definitely has some bit of a crush on him before. He's smart and he's resilient and he's dedicated, and those are great qualities. And she's been hit on by all the big tough fucking dudes on the base for years, and she's over that crap. She wants a good guy, and he is a good guy. And then she plays her cards right, I guess, because then he goes and he also gets the dream body, because of course after Thor, Captain America had to go and get that fucking steamy, dreamy body. But man, he looks amazing. Holy shit, Chris Evans got jacked for this. He has like the perfect body in this movie. It's the one I look at when I'm working out. Anytime I watch this movie, or like any movies, I have to work out to compensate for how I feel when I watch it. He's definitely jacked in this, which helps with the ladies in the audience, or the men too, some men. And I like the scene. You got the body transformation, and they all want to give up, and Steve's like, "No, I can do this," which is it's just him. His character is so daring and so resilient, and I love it. And then when he comes out and the doctor gets shot, he runs after this dude, Thorin Oakenshield, and chases him down. And I love that sequence because he's finding his footing. He's always been this little guy who can't run, and he's always leading behind everybody, can never stay up with the pack when he's in boot camp there. And when he gets out on his new body, it's like, what is this thing? He's like trying to figure out what he's doing, and he like runs through a freaking plate glass window because he doesn't know how to slow down from that speed, and he jumps, and he's just like freaking out, like what the hell? And he's so excited about his new body. I mean, who the fuck wouldn't? I would love the super soldier serum. Hand it over. But yeah, he definitely takes it. The way that he's figuring out his body, I love it. And then when he grabs the door off the cab and it has a star on it, and someone takes a picture of that and it's on the front of paper, and it gives him the idea of the star and the Captain America thing, brilliant. Love it. Love the way that all plays out. And the kid is hilarious. I love that the guy grabs the kid and throws him in the water, and Cap comes over and the kid's like, go get him, I can swim. I thought that was funny and cute. And just, yeah, really good stuff there. And we find out the doc, this is why it can't be duplicated, because the doctor was the one who had the info on this, and it would take years and years to replicate. And even if they did, they think Steve is, a 1 in a million thing. And the doctor was supposed to produce the Americans a whole freaking like platoon or a whole army of soldiers like this, but Steve is the only one. Do you imagine 1,000 Captain Americas out there? Jesus, who the hell could beat them? But then without that, they don't know what to do with him, so he kind of just gets pulled in to becoming the face of war bonds. And he's used as a marketing gimmick, and he goes and he knocks out Adolf Hitler on stage and becomes this poster child, this Uncle Sam of sorts. And they make comic books and movies. Fun that there's Captain America comic books in here, and he's in his own film and everything. But when he goes to visit the GIs and whatnot, he's a big joke. They're like, get the fuck out of here. And so he feels useless, and then he finds out his friend is being held in captivity, and of course he's gonna go take them out. And so Howard Stark flies him in and starts hitting on his girl, and he goes in there and frees the prisoners, and these energy weapons are nuts, man. They hit these guys and completely obliterate them. These tanks are nuts. I like all the little side characters here that he gathers up. What's his name? The dude with the beard. Damien Dark. There you go. Damien Dark from the Arrow TV show. Plays that dude. It's funny to see him. And then a bunch of other guys. I like all those guys. And so he breaks them out of there and he brings them back. And good stuff there. And we find out that Bucky's being experimented on. And Hugh goes across, and there's all this fire, and Cap has to jump across, and the way that all plays out, and the bridge is being pulled apart. Very 1940s action adventure. It's good stuff, man. It really plays well. And then we get the Stan Lee general cameo. So there's the Stan Lee cameo. Natalie Dormer, what a wonderful woman. Pulls him in and gives him a kiss, which of course Agent Carter here, Peggy, gets to see, and all jealous and pissed off. And Tony, wrong movie, Jay. Captain America is all pissed off, and he thinks that her and Howard are fonduing together because he's such a dummy. He doesn't even know what the hell that is. And so there's a little tension created there between them. It's cute. And then they go and they do this train heist, and this is where Bucky's death happens. And it's a sad sequence. I mean, when you think it really is the end of his friend. I remember it being shocking in the theater. Like, oh shit, they just killed his fucking best friend like that? Like, wow, that was a pretty quick death. I would have expected it to be closer to the end, or thought it would be a bigger scene. So when it happened, I was genuinely shocked by it. Like, oh man, that's a shitty way for his best friend to go out. But obviously we find out that he becomes a much bigger character in the MCU as a whole. Then he tries to go and get drunk. This is a sad sequence, man. He finds out that he can't drink to numb the pain of his friend's passing. It really is kind of a sad scene. He fucking can't get drunk. What a shame. But probably shouldn't anyways. If you're really sad, hey, alcohol is much like the soldier serum, okay? The super soldier serum. It amplifies whatever you are. If you're depressed and you drink, you become really fucking depressed. If you're in a great mood and you drink, you become really fucking happy. So the super soldier serum and alcohol have some similarities to them, although they definitely don't get you jacked. Then he goes off and he's like, we're going to go right through the front door. Why the hell not? And the motorcycle chase in this is great, man. Very 1940s, same thing. They got these like super bikes and they're chasing after him and he's knocking them out and blowing them up. And it's badass. It's a great motorcycle chase sequence. I really dug the hell out of it. And Then he goes in. There's this huge fight against all the soldiers in the compound. Cap is throwing his shield around. I love the way Captain uses his shield in this. Just knocking it off things, like boomeranging it, hitting it off walls, coming back, taking people's heads, grabbing it. The way he catches it, the way he picks it up, the way all that stuff. It just really, really works well. I just really like it, and I'm glad that it continues to play off throughout the rest of them. They really embrace his shield in this, and it is his primary weapon throughout the film, and it's just stylized very well. They use it very effectively and smartly throughout the movie. And then, and then he chases after the plane, and Tommy Lee and freaking Tommy Lee Jones, not Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, pull up with Agent Carter in the back of that freaking Cruella de Vil type car that Red Skull drives, and they drive off, and right before he jumps, Peggy gives him the kiss, and they're going to have a dance together, and he looks over at Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like, what, I'm not going to kiss you. I laughed, man. I thought that line was fantastic. He jumps up there, and they have the whole big fight in the plane. He even gets out of the plane with this other little mini plane, fights his way into the thing, injects the guy, flies back into the plane, fights with Red Skull. That whole action sequence is fucking great. And then he has to have that really sad sequence where he calls up Peggy on the thing and he's like, I'm gonna have to give you a rain check on this, and she's crying. I actually got a little teary-eyed in that moment. I was like, this is fucking sad, man. And of course he knows that he's not going to be able to keep this date, nor does she, and he crashes. And so you think it's over, and then it pops back up and Cap wakes up and you can hear the old time game on the radio, and it looks all old school in there, and you're like, oh wait, does he wake up? What the hell happened? Actually, tries to trick you for a second, even though you know that he's frozen. But then you're like, well, maybe it was just the shield. Was he not? I don't know. What the hell's going on? And then, he realizes, like, this is a game I listen to. I don't know how the hell they made that mistake, but they did. And so he breaks out of there, and Nick Fury is there to tell him, you've been asleep for 70 years. And he's just, the first and only thing he can think about is like, I had a date. Of course, for him, it's only been like a minute. But it's just sad. It's a sad thing, man. I mean, couldn't imagine being frozen. This happens in a ton of movies, but where someone is taken away, that their time is taken away. They're still young, and everyone they know is either now old as all hell or dead long ago because so much time has passed. That is a terrifying thought. And to have this happen to him, literally every person he knew is now dead, outside of Bucky, who's also been frozen on ice. But yeah, it's just super, super sad. And then we get an after credits sequence of him punching a punching bag, Nick Fury coming in, and then a trailer for the Avengers, which I thought was really weird to see a trailer here for the next movie. It reminded me of like Back to the Future 3 when they played the trailer at the end of part 2. You don't see that now. Things are so different in the MCU now. than they were then. They were still trying to find their footing at this time, and I can't wait to get to the Avengers next. I haven't seen it in a long ass time, and I really look forward to it. Now loving Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, I have a whole new appreciation, and Iron Man 2. I always loved Iron Man 1, but all the rest of the 4 films before this, I wasn't huge on them, and I really enjoyed every one of them this time. So going into the Avengers, really having a liking for all these characters. I did not go into the Avengers like that before. I went into the Avengers only liking Iron Man. So I didn't, and I've only seen the Avengers first one time. Crazy. So I wasn't big on those characters at that time, so I never really went back and revisited that movie. And so I'm really excited to go back and revisit them now that I've been really paying attention and writing everything down and finding all the little connections and everything. So this will be a fun rewatch. But anyway, guys, until then, adios.